Hey guys, Rogue Orange here. Welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry about the hiatus, but we are back with a very special item that I really haven't talked about too much online. And that is the iQOO DS Lite. Now I know what you're thinking. Hold on, you said Nintendo DS Lite. That's not Nintendo DS, that's iQOO. And you're right, it is iQOO, but it is still also Nintendo. To understand this, we do need a little bit of background. As you may already know, China is a pretty big geographic location with a pretty decent sized population, and a Nintendo would absolutely kill to have a potential customer base that large. But there's one major hurdle. See, back then and even today, despite the lenience, the Chinese government was very strict about gambling and video games. So how did Nintendo combat this? Well, they partnered with a Chinese localization company known as iQOO to not only have their games and consoles manufactured in China, but be allowed to release there as well. Starting with the iQOO Player in 2002, which was a plug-and-play Nintendo 64, all the way up until the iQOO 3DS XL consoles in the late 2010s. Unfortunately, Nintendo has since cut ties with iQOO, partnering with Tencent for the Switch line of consoles. Anyways, back to the unboxing. All right, thank you, Exposition voiceover self. I appreciate all that info. Looking around the box, you're going to see it's a plain box with a plain DS on it on the front. And you move to the side, it's going to have the iQOO DS Lite logo. And then you're going to have the iQOO DS Lite logo again, but with another iQOO logo on top of it. And then we flip it to the back, and you have a very generic description of what a Nintendo DS is, or in this case, iQOO DS Lite. And if we flip to the bottom, we got all this important information, including this that says for sale and use in China only, blah, 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 blah. And then we have this telling us to read the introduction booklet. And then we have all of our stuff right here, and you can see, there it is, there's the little Nintendo logo. And flipping onto this side, you're going to see the list of all the features, and then on here you're going to see the little sticker. Now this one I took to Google Translate because I have no knowledge of the Chinese language, but when translated from mainland Chinese to English, it translates to pearlescent red. Now if you know anything about the iQOO systems, you know that the only pearlescent systems that were produced for iQOO were special editions and not just plain old DS's. But that being said, let's get her open. Alright, opening it up, first thing we're going to notice is this power cable, which has the iQOO branding, which is pretty cool. Even has the Nintendo logo on there, which is also pretty cool. I don't think that this is the right kind of plug for an American outlet, so I will not be using this to ever charge this iQOO DS Lite. Coming up next, we have this little packet here, this little baggie with the, looks like a screen cleaning cloth and the spare pink stylus, which is pretty sick. You know, many DS's in box don't even come with one stylus, much less a spare one. Then we have our baggie of paperwork here. This first thing, though, is a CD-ROM for the iQOO. Let's open it up, and honestly, looks really good. I don't trust this to go into my computer, and it only goes up to Windows XP for support, so we're just gonna put that away and never use it. Then here we have this little item. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna have Google Translate do this for me. And then here we have another list of items that I'm not too sure about what they do, but there seems to be a lot of X's and O's. Like I said, I'm going to have Google Translate do this for me, and we'll get a better clue what we're looking at. Then we have another informational packet about when and where this was purchased, and the model number and serial number. And then here is the instruction booklet, which I imagine wouldn't be too much different from a standard Nintendo one, but you know, with all the iQOO branding and also being in Chinese. And then here we have the actual DS itself. Taking it out of the plastic, you're going to see it is a beautiful, bright pink aesthetic. You're going to see on the back it is pretty much all in Chinese, including the IQ logo there, and we have the serial number, which if we bring up that information thing, you're going to see that the serial numbers do in fact match, so that's definitely a great sign. And overall, it's in pretty good shape. The only cosmetic problem I see is this this part of the hinge is a little bit yellow, but otherwise looks really, really good. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is the battery on it's dead, because I just tried to turn it on and nothing happened. So I will be right back. Okay, it's been about a couple of hours of charging. Let's try and turn this IQ DS Lite on. Alright, and as you see quite plainly on the screen, there is the special IQ DS splash screen up top, and on the bottom here you got a warning but in Chinese, and we're going to head into the software. Now, the weird thing about the IQ DS Lite is that it does have Chinese language support for obvious reasons, but normal Nintendo DS's anywhere else in the world will not have Mandarin Chinese as a language option. Only the IQ systems have it on the system by default. And the language barrier also applies to the video games, because there are a very limited amount of IQ DS games available in very rare quantities for sale online, and they can only be played on this system because, as I just mentioned, the IQ is the only one with the Chinese language setting. Therefore, only the IQ games will be compatible on this system and not a normal Nintendo DS, because those DSs do not have the language support. But regular Nintendo DS games in English and from other regions should work just fine. Wait. Oh my gosh. I finally found a Nintendo DS Lite that is actually region locked. Are you serious? The Super Mario 64 DS. It's a legit cartridge, a USA cartridge. Let's double down and try it again. It doesn't play. So wait, you're telling me? So hold on. I know what I just said. I know what I just said. I'm not cutting that out. This is something I don't think I've actually ever tried. The Nintendo DS cartridge from the USA does not work on this Chinese unit. Oh my gosh. But does this... Okay, I gotta know. Does this play regular Game Boy Advance games through the Game Boy slide? Hold 1 second. Alright, we got Namco Museum. So let's take out the GBA cartridge protector. And... no way. It doesn't play Game Boy games either. That is so interesting. Alright, we got a Japanese one here. Alright, it does not work. That is incredible. That is interesting. So, I can't play any games on this because I don't have any games that I can play on this. That is so interesting. Okay. That is wild. That is wild. Alright, well, this video just took a completely unexpected turn. Usually, this is the part where I test cartridges on it and play games to show you that, hey, it does work, you know, it does work, but this is a new revelation that I didn't even consider, that this cannot play Japanese, cannot play English, cannot play European games. It can only play the IQ games. That is crazy. Alright. Whew. God, that just got me excited. Sorry for the excitement, but that to me is crazy. That to me is insane. Alright, and that's going to do it for this video on the IQ DS Lite. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. If you guys want to see more of these kind of videos, be sure to subscribe. Again, I'm sorry for the hiatus of videos. Just a lot has happened in my personal life that just kind of kept me from focusing on YouTube. but I'm back. I'm going to be trying to post weekly. I can't make any promises, but I'm going to try my hardest. Anyways, social links are in the description. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Peace.